hear from the people that have been impacted and to hear what our needs are. Um, the needs that we still have as a community is we still need health care. If that comes through enacting the Stafford Act, disaster declaration, I don't care if there's a law that fits it, make one that does.
And permanent relocation.
That's exactly. The very least that we deserve is to have health insurance for the rest of our lives, the rest of our children's lives. The second thing we need is we still need some residents relocated. There are residents that are fine and want to stay. That's okay, but there are still some homes that are contaminated. We need help for Pennsylvania. This when we talk about this happening right next to Pennsylvania, if you go to the far corner of the bar that it happened at, right behind, it's called State Line, and you can literally put your foot in Ohio and another foot in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania has been ignored. We need money for research, not just to find out what happened with our bodies, but for the next community that this happens in. I keep hearing 20 years from now, we're never going to prove that this cancer was due to chemical exposure. But we can. We could prove that with the research. That's true right now. The CDC told us as a community, we've all been exposed. We all have chemicals in our body, but they don't know what to do about that. However, they can treat the cancers it causes. That is unacceptable. The time is now, and this is bigger than East Palestine. These accidents happen every single day. And that's why we formed the Chemically Impacted Communities Coalition. We have members from Love Canal, 40 years, still talking about their disaster. Bhopal, India, it's been 40 years since Bhopal. They just had the contamination removed this last December. You talk about Conyers, Georgia, not getting much press, but a biolab exploded there. Their plume sat over them for over a week. And you know what they did for them? They put a curfew in place and told them to be home by a certain time at night. Look at what's going on right now in Moss Landing in Northern California, a lithium battery plant. They're all sick and being ignored. The time is now to pay attention to the people because we, the people, are fed up. Look at the people in North Carolina still living in tents, but we have money to send to other countries. When does America come back to taking care of Americans? We're fed up and we want our government to know. We stand here today asking JV to please hear our cries. Don't let our voices be blocked by our local government yet again. It's not just about economic recovery. We need to focus on human health. We need answers, we need out, and we need help in East Palestine. Everything is not okay here.
Many people don't realize that other communities have been erased off of the map for less contamination events than this. We have the right to be removed from a poisonous environment. We have a need for meaningful health care and realistic relocation. You can't buy or rent a home similar to what you get here in any other similar environment. We didn't ask for this to be done to us, and we have talked to many people from many other disasters. I personally talked to Marilyn Leisner from Times Beach quite a bit, and the health ramifications that her community is still facing. The people that she has lost that left that community between 7 and 13 years old, passing away in their 40s and 50s. She doesn't know how she's made it so long. She thinks it's to help us. We need out. We need relocation. I still have loved ones who are in multiple different types of relocation, all lesser than their homes here. Many are paying for 2 homes. Some are facing homelessness. There are some who are actually homeless. And our neighbors in Pennsylvania, 500 feet from the state line where that plume blew, got no attention in this at all. They got no help at all. We got no help from the government, not any. But they're not even getting acknowledged. And we need Jimmy Vance to be the man of his word that we believe him to be. Declare the Stafford Act, get the federal declaration of disaster out, and please come speak to your constituents. You were with us all along, and we need you to be with us now as our vice president.
Anybody else?
I'm a resident of across the border, Beaver. I was also impacted. I'm a Lyme disease advocate. I advocate for data. We're one of the highest states for Lyme disease. We can see an increase in autoimmune. We can see an increase from the impact
Oh, we got another
here
two
in our
good
ear.
The other one is fast.
I'm a functional family practitioner. Data. What we need is action. We need actionable steps. We need money for healthcare. The research is there. I can help. We need to pull all of our resources together. I come with Derailment Coalition. I come with the Detox Girls. I come with this guy with this beautiful thing because everybody needs to see we are not okay in East Palestine and in Ohio. We need support. We're asking for it today.
Chrissy?
My family has been relocated due to the derailment in my home setting on top of Sulphur Run. The EPA had ordered Norfolk Southern 3 different times to close off my open pipe in that tunnel. They have yet to do that. On December 30th, right before New Year's Eve, we were served with a paper from Norfolk Southern ending our relocation. Our home is still contaminated. The EPA had deemed us a special circumstance. I have a 90-year-old stepfather that's a veteran. I have a mother, 83, with Parkinson's. My daughter has asthma. I have type 1 juvenile diabetes. Our home has showed more contamination after each testing. We need a place to live that is safe, and we need our government to stop this before we become homeless. We have a community, many communities in the surrounding area suffering silenced. They're suffering silenced. There's no coverage on this, and it needs to stop. We need help. Our government needs to step in and take care of their citizens.
Use the power that they have.
Yes.
And not having health care. How many people are worried about your health care?
We're definitely worried about health care. Even people that have health care right now, it's not covering chemical testing and the types of things we need.
Yes.
They put a community health center here, Governor DeWine did, in East Palestine, but guess what? They don't employ any environmental doctors. It's the same PCP care that we get, across the street here, the doctors we've been going to for 30 years. Like, how can they not even give us access to doctors that understand chemical exposure, that understand what's going on with our bodies?
Isn't the funding stopped on that too? You have to use your own.
Because
your
nobody
own
was
insurance.
using it, they turned it into just a regular primary care practice.
They wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, because they didn't do testing, they didn't have an environmental doctor.
They laughed and told my mother everything she had was because of her age. They would acknowledge nothing could be potentially related. And why would you keep going back there?
But our doctors were also
So what
told
about
by
our
the
children? Are our children and grandchildren going to have a hard time getting insurance because this is a pre-existing condition?
And what about the EPA, the health department, OSHA, the cleanup workers?
Yeah. Where's FEMA?
Had a business that was surrounded by chemicals, OSHA would be there immediately to shut it down. They have people living right down by the tracks where the soil is full of contaminants from the rail train that's spilled everything, and they still have not moved those people out. They're still living there. There was in her backyard, she had a rail car, and she had young children. My question is, yes, okay, great, let us get health care for everybody, but that is to treat the symptoms. Why would you not remove the people away from the thing that causes the symptoms?
Amen.
That is the first thing you should do, is get the people away from that and then worry about their symptoms that they're going to have regardless because they've been there for 2 years.
And
ask
you don't
OSHA.
bandage wounds in a fire. You remove people from the fire and then you assess their wounds. Healthcare before relocation doesn't make sense.
This
in
is-
healthcare around here, we don't have the practitioners for what we need.
This is for the workers on that site. They are excavating a super fund as we speak, a federal super fund. Why is OSHA not there asking those workers why they don't have PPE on?
Right. Amen.
Why?
And why are we allowed to
OSHA.
look at the fallout of
I'm
it?
telling you right now, they're in the middle of a super fund and they don't have proper PPE on. You need to go ask why. You need to go ask those workers why they don't have PPE on.
Our environment is still contaminated. Just in November, they found 14 more pockets of vinyl chloride. They found contamination in the wetlands. You know, they act like this is done. There's still contamination in our creeks. They've not addressed the creek banks. You know, we're not stupid. We don't need to be scientists to know when it rains and that creek swells, all those chemicals are going into those sidewalks, going into that soil.
Going into our homes.
What people don't know is that vinyl chloride can stay in the soil for a long time, years. It off gases from the water, and you breathe that in. But it stays in the soil, and it's been going deeper and deeper. And many of us have private wells, and we weren't even able to get a baseline test for our wells to see what we started with, so that we can continue to update on what's happening. Because ultimately, God forbid, that's going to end up in the water, the aquifers, and that is terrifying because you won't know that you're drinking it. I've been drinking bottled water for 2 years now. I filter my
It's
bottled
hard to
water.
afford.
Don't even give it to our animals.
No, don't
I
even
wouldn't even
give
give the water to my
And
cats.
I understand that.
When we talk about vapor intrusion, our municipal building right here, the mayor tells me off on national television for asking how he can make those women work in there when it was the only place that smelled worse than my home. I heard rumors that they had a pipe that led from that building down into the tunnel where the creeks went under the building. There was off-gassing into that building. When I asked our local village government about it, I was told to get a public records request. It's now come out in a published report, and I also have videos of the hole that they had to cover. When your residents are complaining about vapor intrusion in your home and your own local government does not stand up for you, does not say that there was vapor intrusion right there in that very building. When your local government knew that the air knifing machines that they had lining our town were blowing chemicals and the workers were getting sick, no one told us. There was 5 of those machines at the entrance to our park. Why are we not being relocated? Why do we not have health insurance? Why have we been abandoned?
Where's the transparency? 2 years and there's still not transparency. They still can't explain the symptoms. In the fall, there was a ton of people getting sick again, and everybody says, "Oh, it couldn't be anything related to the derailment. It must be." No, they just found the pockets, and everybody was sick again.
And the other problem is that the only way that anybody got any testing is from independent scientists that came to test, because they would not come and they would not have them test our soil. The only way I knew that I have vinyl chloride in my soil and in my crops is because of an independent scientist. And it's only gotten worse the second year that he tested it. It's gotten 8 times worse than it was the first year.
So are you saying that there's a cover up here?
Yes.
Absolutely. Historically, in every chemical disaster, there is a cover-up.
We're not saying there's a cover up, we have proof. For anybody that wants to see it, if nobody fights for you, you learn how to fight for yourself. As parents that care about their community members, we do our own investigation. I guarantee you, a group of people that investigated this, we investigated it better than the FBI would have. So we're not just saying they lied, we have proof that they lied, and I will show it to anybody that asks us for it.
About a year ago, They called us up. My family, we have 20 acres here on Jimtown Road, and we have a house. About a year ago, the lawyers called us up. Our lawyer sent us over there to sign papers and try to understand it. It's been 2 years now, and everyone I'm talking to around here with property has not been compensated. I mean, our property's worth zero. There's no value. There's no value anymore in our property. And to me, if we try to sell it or we do sell it, then we're liable as well. Uh, the issue I think is, why did they give all this money to out of town lawyers when I understand, I don't know the percentage they're taking, but that should be revoked. That we should form a committee here of citizenry. We know better, and we can have bankers and lawyers monitor what we're doing, and let's do it fairly. I couldn't understand. This one lawyer was telling me, well, your land, we're not going to refund anything on the land. It's for the homeowners. I said, well, if you have a house, what does the house sit on? Land. Okay? This young lawyer didn't even understand this. And I said, don't they value the land and also the house? They're separate. So the land and the house goes together. When you got leadership like this, it's no wonder why after 2 years we have no compensation.
Yes.
None. Everybody here has no compensation. Now, I feel bad. I don't live here, but I feel bad for the people who live here. I think the town is Americana. I think that we not only need that fund to be revoked and put in the citizenry hands and managed appropriately. They do that with bank trusts. I mean, why can't we do it for our own community rather than have these lawyers come in from out of town? And until now, where's the money? I mean, that's not even to speak of the people's health. So I think the mayor, I think vice president, I think the new government should come in here and slap these people around and get it straight.
Yeah. Criminal prosecution.
Yeah.
What they did was a crime. These attorneys, what they're doing to us, this settlement that looks so great, you had to sign up and opt in without even knowing how much money that you were going to get. Residents still don't know how much money they're going to get. The attorneys got 180 million. They already have their money. And what residents have to do, if you signed up with an attorney before the class action, you have to pay your contingency fee. So out of your 70,000, if you get that being in the 1 mile zone, you pay 33 to 40% to your attorney. And let's not forget, our own attorneys held a virtual town hall where they had a toxicologist tell us that there would be 0 cases of cancer and 0 long-term health risks from this chemical exposure. A simple look him up on LinkedIn. He worked for Exxon. He worked for Chevron. He worked for Dow Chemicals along with a couple other polluters. How is that informed consent when people sign to waive their medical rights? What has been done to us is disgusting. We have no money to get out. No one is helping us get out.
They're taking the relocation money back too.
Yeah, they're
taking
the relocation money out of your 70,000. So people like Chrissy that spoke, that's been relocated for almost 2 years, she'll get $0 and be forced to go back to that contaminated home. And to anybody in the community that says that people that were relocated are double dipping, let me tell you, you can only spend your settlement money on hotel rooms. We weren't given a choice. We weren't given $20,000 and told go find a place to live. My house was contaminated. I wanted to be home. You live in a hotel room with your 3-year-old, your mother-in-law, and your husband, animals for months at a time. It was no vacation. We're going to get $0. So don't be fooled by the headlines. This is the biggest settlement in history for the attorneys, not for the people.
And the death rate here, I understand it's shot up here in East Palestine.
I can't speak on that. I've not researched the death rate because I've had so many other things to research. But I will tell you, I personally have lost a couple of people to heart attacks that had no previous health conditions. Do I know it was from the derailment? No. Do I know it wasn't from the derailment? No. And that's why we need the research. That's part of it. It's the not knowing. Your kid goes missing for 20 years. I'm sorry. I'd rather know day one that they were gone than sit there for 20 years and wish.
Can you ask, why has the media in this country not spoken to the residents about the fact that they can't even get health care?
There are some media stations that have been staying on top of us, but unfortunately, that's the news cycle. You know, it's the same thing with other communities helping us. We didn't get one bottle of water from our government. Trump brought water before he was back in the government. We depended on other communities. In the beginning, we had so much water, we didn't know what to do with it. 2 years later, we're still drinking bottled water. Some people are still cooking in it. You know, with the price of groceries, people are deciding between water and being able to feed their families. And we live in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And President Biden came here a year after the incident. What do you think about what he did? He met with a grand audience. It was so fake. You know, it's these people here that are living this every day. They're the ones you have to speak to. And if they speak out, if any professional speaks out, he's going to be censored by the government, by the railroad. They're going to force any doctor that says, "Hey, maybe this." No, they're not going to listen to that. They don't want to hear that. They want everything to be fine. They want us to go away. Well, we've been here for a long time. We're not going away.
Not into town. All I heard was a pledge to spend millions in NIH grants to prestigious universities to study us. I think that is that is the most ridiculous insult I can think of.
Yeah.
Where's the people getting out of this poison? Where's the health care? You don't care about the people who just want to study us like guinea pigs.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. This thing has gone on for way too long.
And does Norfolk Southern really control this town?
Hell yeah, Norfolk Southern controls this town.
The town is $60 million.
Right. Look at a $25 million park. You know, you look at, I asked for a list of all the positions that have been created in our village government since the derailment and who is funding those positions. I don't care who you are, you can see who are getting jobs from this. You know, people in the fire department, their family members working for Norfolk Southern. You know, other family members getting jobs, you know, at the fire department. Those are the people that are speaking to our vice president today, not the people that you're hearing from here that are suffering. You know, I honestly believe that our local government has been very openly bought out. Not everybody believes that. You know, some people think let's get what we can get and, you know, while we can get it. And that's fine. But there's some of us that are more worried about our health. What's a $25 million park going to do if your kid has cancer and can't go over there to play? They got another 22 million, yeah. But they had to negotiate
the
the
video's
stuff that was already promised
gone.
to us in Norfolk Southern. They promised us the park. They promised us a training center. And you know what? Our city government, our village government had to negotiate to keep the park. Why are you negotiating things that were promised and things that we didn't even want?
We didn't even want them.
I recently met
Matt,
an elderly
did you
gentleman from
tap the
Nagley,
video
and I was
by
really concerned about
accident?
Nagley because when I evacuated
It's
on
black.
Sunday night, there was very thick haze in the air that made your lips tingle and your mouth coated and it was hard to breathe. I met this gentleman who lives on a hill in Nagley, and that plume was at ground level with him. He couldn't see the barn, and nobody had warned him. He wasn't evacuated. He wasn't told to shelter in place, and now he's on oxygen. Before that, he could hike miles with his daughter, and he didn't.
Sorry, guys. I always have tech issues when I go to East Palestine. It's, oh shoot, he'll come back. It's rough because people in that area still use dial-up. I'm not kidding you. like it's a rural area. They don't have like this high speed interwebs that we have in cities and stuff. It's, a lot of people still have dial up. So it's hard. I've been there 4 times, and every time this has happened. So Matt will join us again. You've heard from a lot of people who have been on my show multiple times: Jamie, Chrissy, Krista. 2 years in, I've been covering this since day one, and I'm still friends with a number of people in EP who I talk on the phone with, who I text with, and they're always keeping me updated with things. It has only gotten worse. And it's very easy for especially outsiders to be like, oh, okay, well, obviously the toxins are getting better because it's been a longer time. Well, let me tell you guys that that's actually completely false, because as it rains, as it gets to snow and it melts, all of the toxins, the erosion, are bringing them out again from the banks of the streams and the rivers, which is all over because it's a rural area. And it is bringing them up. And you can still smell. Typically, it's like a chlorine type smell, even in buildings. All 4 times I've been there, I've been sick. Um, and residents tell me it's still going on. Even outside, you walk around outside, you get sick. Um, this is not going away. There is no kind of like bubble you can stand in so that you are separate. Um, these people's houses are toxic to a level that scientists have said that they have never seen this many chemicals mixed in one place. And these people are being faced with, oh, well, you're going to be homeless or you're going to go back in that house. Those are your choices. So they have to think about, I'm already sick. Should I just go home? Or it's exacerbating what sickness I have. So should I just stay in my car? It's a hostage situation. And we're talking about 2 fucking years later. I know Biden left office about 2 weeks ago or so, but I'm going to break it down to you as someone who's covered this for 2 years. That man had a disaster declaration from the mayor and representatives and the community sitting on his desk for months and months and months and months. And what it said was a declaration of disaster. What it said, it would give them housing, even if it's a hotel, what have you. And it would give them cases of water and healthcare. What is that really a lot to ask? Are they saying give us like Porsches and Lamborghinis? Like, are you kidding me? They had everything taken from them, everything. And you can't even sign a disaster declaration. He wouldn't even let FEMA come in. Why? What is it to him? Well, donors. Norfolk loves Biden. They love him. So he came to East Palestine over a year after the derailment. He stands outside of McKim's, and he says, oh, don't worry about this because I can guarantee you if Norfolk doesn't step up, I'm going to step in and take care of it. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, he also didn't meet with the community, by the way. He met with 3 pre-selected people who have motives to be in the political arena. He did not meet with the actual community. He didn't say, hey, let me talk to you guys. Let's talk about what's going on. No, he didn't do any of that. He came in, he made a stupid ass press conference that made a whole bunch of trite ass talking points. And these people, they get dismissed because it's a red state and what have you. But you guys got to understand, they don't care about politics.
The smoke was so bad down Camden Road, you couldn't even hardly see the roads. And the cloud come right over top of the hill, right to our house. And I understand that the train blew up here, but it went everywhere when that thing blew. It went everywhere. And now we're just, you're just a bunch of hoe handles who don't know how to read. And you don't understand none of this stuff. I understand that I can't use enough water. And I understand that I don't know what they put in the ground behind my house.
So you're saying that they're doing excavation of that material. Is there any oversight of the excavation?
I called EPA. They told me, you don't have to worry about it. There's nothing wrong. I said, the house was right over here. I followed them from the dump right over here behind on the corner. I called him the same day. The guy from Chicago told me, you don't have to worry about nothing. Nothing's in there. I said, there has to be something in here. It was up there the whole time. There has to be something in there. Yes, I followed the dump truck. Our water has 2 different chemicals in it. You can take a bath in it if you take a cold bath. You can wash your dishes if you use cold water. It's got some form of turpentine or something in it. But yet they tell us, you'll be okay. It's not going to affect you for 20 years. So our wells, all of our wells down there are shot because of what they've done. And now, I don't know what they're putting in the ground. There's still dump trucks coming from here down to there. And this has been over a year ago. It was on Martin Luther King Day of 2023. And I called them immediately, and they told me, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect you. How do I know?
Anyone else would like to speak?
I have over 150 nodules on my lungs already, and I'm losing oxygen to my heart. I'm 53 years old. It should not be happening. I was 132 feet from that track when it came by our house and blew all that smoke into our house. We were 132 feet from the track. And it was already on fire coming by and filled our house in 2 seconds. Our 2 dogs died within a month. They were out there. I was trying to get them, but I couldn't see them through all the black smoke. Yes, I breathed it. I breathed it for over 6 days. Well, I'm done breathing it. And I'm done with them screwing us too, because they're taking the money that they gave us for relocation out of our check. I don't think that's fair. You made us relocate. You made us do this. You wrecked your train.
What is your name?
Barbara Carr.
How do you spell your last name?
C-A-R-R.
So you live here in East County?
Yes, I do. I live at 253 West Tax Street.
I'm Jeff Lauderback from the Epic Times. I've covered this on and off for the last 2 years. How far do you live from the crash scene?
We actually, from the crash scene, 1.1, but the train came by our house and it just completely filled our house. I tried to put fans in the door. It was in our house for at least 6 days, and you could still smell it.
And they need the government doing anything to protect you?
No, and what about it is we got to get rid of all of our belongings. Who wants to sleep on that or smell that blanket? Okay, we lost everything, and we need some help. I'm asking J.D. Vance and Trump to come help in Palestine.
You're saying you're losing oxygen?
I'm losing oxygen to my heart. I am now on nitroglycerin.
And you didn't have that issue before?
I had no heart issue other than congestive heart failure, but I've had that for years. But the nodules, I started getting them, and I got proof. I got my medical records at my house. I was 7 days before I started getting them on my lungs.
And what is your age again?
53 years old.
53?
And what do you want Vance to do here?
I want them to make them responsible and make them pay to help us get back on our feet. They're taking all of our money. They're taking the money that they relocated out of our checks. I don't think that's fair. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Important that you guys know she has nodules. She doesn't have cancer.
No cancer.
But thoracic surgeons will tell you you can catch before they turn to cancer with the funds, the medical care that this communities need by the federal government. They need it. Okay, so she could catch it early. If you catch those nodules when they first turn, you have a very high survival rate.
No, I don't.
But You have the other problems. But if you just have a nodule turn and you catch it and they get that out of there, the survival rate is higher. Okay?
Do you think the government?
We need the medical care.
Do you think the government is protecting Norfolk Southern?
I think somebody is covering something up. I don't know who. I know that I haven't seen our chief or nobody that's probably already got paid off. I don't know what happened here, but I know that they're not helping the people. We're still not receiving these little checks that they're going to take 14 grand out that they gave me to use for a hotel. You know, what am I going to get? 11,000? If they give me that, it's not fair. They signed us up for 25 grand, and we deserve it, plus the 70 grand per family. We've seen the paperwork. It came in the mail.
Is that going to cover health care?
No, that's so we don't sue them anymore for health care from this issue on.
Yep.
You understand? That's why we had to sign their papers, or we get nothing. So I went to my lawyer and I signed the papers.
Are you hopeful with the Trump administration coming in, there'll be different as far as?
I think he was here, and he came a couple days after the derailment. Okay, he came for us. Okay, and I think he will come back for us because we did not deserve it. We did not do anything. It's the Norfolk Southern, and they paid us out of an insurance. They didn't even have to come out of pocket.
$600 million.
Yeah, you know, they give us $600 million, but the people, the 4,900 living in Palestine, should have got at least $1 million apiece. That's the truth.
Yep. So you'd like to see, or what would you like to see as far
I'd like
as?
them to counteract the judgment and help the people here because they've lost everything. The houses, most of them, half of them are empty. They ain't even living in them. You know, I moved a little farther away, but I hear the train every night going by, probably 70, 80 miles an hour.
And for people that have kids here,
right. What about the children?
So every time.
What about the kids? What's going to happen when they start having babies?
can you talk about that?
Oh, thank you.
I got the water company.
Thanks.
I just can't even fathom what my children. I don't even like to say it out loud because it scares me that much. It keeps me awake at night to think about what might happen to my kids when they go to start having kids. Like you just said, you know, I have a little boy and a little girl. And we live right up the street, right here. You know, we saw the fireball. We were here. And because they were sort of secretive about what was actually going on, we were here until Sunday. We didn't even relocate until Sunday. So we were here from Friday until Sunday with all of those chemicals. I live pretty close. I mean, I live a quarter mile away from it.
So the EPA never came here and told people get out.
They never
Because
came
it's
to
a
my
highly
house.
dangerous toxic cloud.
Nobody
They
came
never
to my
warned
house.
So you heard from Governor DeWine when that's when you heard about the event, right?
Yeah.
And how do you spell your name?
Morgan, Morgan.
Matt, feel free to ask
And
a
you're from
question
East
if you want.
How has it changed the town as far as like February 3rd in the morning versus February 4th in the morning?
Completely divided us, that's for sure. Well, because there are those that, you know, they don't understand, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that too, you know. It blows my mind, to be honest with you, the people that think that everything is okay here. I don't understand that. I don't understand. And maybe that's their way of coping. You know, maybe that's their way of dealing with this. But I mean, what about my babies? What about my kids? What about my animals?
How old are your kids?
My son's 12 and my daughter's 14.
And you have how many animals?
I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. And, you know, I mean, we can never say for sure right now in this very moment if something was because of the derailment or if it was not because of the derailment. But, you know, I know that when my dog hits the ground, he throws up every single time. Every single time. So I don't know anything for sure.
Yeah. What would you like to see happen from Trump?
I would like to see the declaration of disaster. I would like to see us have health care and relocation. You know, relocation. My mom worked her whole entire life, like a man in a steel mill, to own the duplex that we live in so that she could leave it to me and my sister so that we would always have each other. And that is like that. because it is so contaminated. And my sister doesn't even live with me anymore, you know, and she was my biggest support with my kids because of this derailment. You know, it separated us.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, she's in Pennsylvania now. But like that's where the chemicals went. You know what I mean? Like, and we didn't know that. So like we ran from this disaster right into Pennsylvania, right where all of the smoke was coming. You know what I mean? So it's like, did it even really? You know, I don't know. Like, it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like we have been.
So you would like to see Norfolk Southern pay for the fair market value before?
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see them be held legally accountable as well. You know, this is actually insane. Like, it's actually insane that this is happening. And like Jamie said, in America, like, it's mind-blowing.
So what would you like to see happen for the people who want to stay here?
I pray for them. I pray that, you know, nothing happens to them. I pray that they don't get sick. Truly, because these are forever chemicals. These are forever chemicals. Like, so how could it not? You know what I mean? Like, 1 + 1 is 2 here, people. You know? So I don't know. God bless you, I guess, is really all I can say.
Okay, thanks for your time. Do you mind if I get a picture? I'll get both of you in here. What is your name?
So guys, I think they're probably getting ready to wrap up a little. We didn't post it because anyone who's an activist knows you shouldn't. Yeah, Briefly Vance is going to be coming to EP in about an hour. So we didn't post it or anything because obviously we don't really want them to change the location. Now, Vance, say what you will about him, he has been the only representative who has stuck up for these people. That's how I found out who he is. He would go to the Senate floor and talk about what they're going through. He is the only person that they have had any faith in. So he is coming. We are praying that he does an executive order. He signs the disaster declaration. He does anything. But they have hope today. And I am just fingers crossed he does something because honestly, he's the only person who would. They know that he's the only person who has done anything for them at all. He's for people who don't know, he was an Ohio rep before he became VP. And I'm glad he's coming today because even though it's an anniversary and it's probably PR and all those things, I'm glad he's coming today because they felt extremely abandoned. They have for 2 years. How could you not? So I'm glad he's coming today. We'll see what he has to say. I know he is meeting with some people, including the mayor, Trent, who is complete trash, and the fire chief. He's meeting with both of them. So we'll see how that goes. I know there's going to be a press conference. I really hope he meets with residents as well. I know he has in the past, but I do hope he does now. Matt, if you need to drop in a minute to get in the car and go to the next location, that's all good. Do you want to share with the viewers what the scene's like there today?
Yeah, it's been good. We had some good speakers. I don't know if the audio's been great. Probably not. It's probably my fault, but Things are
No,
starting to
it's
die
you
down
know
here.
how it gets there. It's a town, so people drive by and stuff like that. No, it was great. We got to hear from a lot of people who have been on the show. So
Yeah.
yeah, it feels, very emotional, of course. Um, so are you headed to go see Vance Talk then at the fire station?
I believe that is the next spot. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone yet.
Yeah, Christina said that that is the next spot um
All
at
right.
12:45. Um are you feeling any
Okie
health
dokie.
effects like we usually get, like the swollen throat and all that? Are you feeling anything?
No, I'm feeling okay for now.
Usually it kind of hits us later in the day.
It's later.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping that, uh by 3:30 when you leave, you're kind of still okay. Um yeah, this is, I mean, for people who know, this protest press conference was created at about midnight last night. And all these people showed up, which was amazing. Matt, what do you want to share? Oh, my
We
family.
got some. We got some camera crews around. I like to see that.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And EP is one of those places where, like, if you see someone standing on the corner with a sign, the news will be there in 10 seconds because it's a small town.
Yep.
Is there anything you want to say? Oh, is there anything you want to say before we break and come back at 12:45?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good to break now. Um, See you
All
soon, I
right.
guess.
Awesome. Well, drive safe. And yes, I will be back to join you at 12:45. I will create the new link and we will be good to go. Great job. Thanks for stepping in for me. I appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. All right. See you soon.
See ya. So you guys, that is Matt live in East Palestine, Ohio. I'm heartbroken. I can't be there because logistics and such. My blind ass can't drive, and my buddy who I usually go to Pittsburgh. I usually come into Pittsburgh from Harrisburg and we drive he drives to East Palestine. I ride with him. It's a small town. There are no buses, there are no trains there, nothing. And a lot of Ubers won't even go there because there's like it's just a town, especially now. It's just a toxic town. So there quite literally was no way for me to physically get there. Matt, however, is about an hour out, where I'm about 6 hours out. Um, he's in Ohio, so he stepped up. He's been with me each of the 4 times I've been to East Palestine and covered it. So I'm glad he gets to be there. It's hard though because I had to you know, like Christina, who's my closest East Palestine friend, her little guy was like, "Hey, Joey, are you coming?" And I'm like, "No." So I definitely want to be with them. They're still my family, and they are just going through hell. So I do want to touch on the lawsuit that people spoke on a few times. Now, what happened was Norfolk finally, after fighting the residents tooth and nail, they did come out and finally acknowledge, okay, this was kind of our fault. We're going to do a settlement, and it was a class action. Now, what they ended up doing, despite people in the community like a complete uproar and people fighting back, what they did was they decided to give people 70,000 per household. You have a household of 6 people, 70,000. You have a household of 5 people, 70,000. Now, okay, 70,000, is that enough? Not even close, because these people's homes are decimated. Their homes are, who can move for $70,000? However, it's not 70,000. Why? 30%. 30% for the lawyers in the class action. 30%. Okay? So that brings you down, like $20,000? Then, if you were relocated, even if you were relocated for, let's say when it first happened, let's say they put you overnight, 3 nights in a hotel, okay? And let's say for 4 nights, and let's say that comes to $1,000. They wrote it off. They already wrote it off. They helped you stay at a hotel for the disaster. That's coming out of your check. If you were at a hotel for a month, that's coming out of your check. If you got reimbursement for a water filter, an air filter, coming out of your check, these people are quite literally going to wind up with nothing. As you heard from a few people who are literally getting nothing. So 70,000, not only is their house worth more than that alone, not even talking about everything in their house and their health, they're not even getting 70,000. They're getting literally nothing or breadcrumbs. So how do you put a price on life and health? Then what they were talking about, the $25 or $25,000 health amendment on the lawsuit. Well, what that means is you can get up to $25,000 for your health. What that means is you cannot sue Norfolk or EPA in the future. You get cancer, you die, you have whatever wrong with you, you cannot sue them if you take this. Now, like I said, up to 25,000. I'm not talking to anyone who's getting the 25,000, because what they're going to do is they're saying, well, how do you know you didn't have, how do you know those things are from the derailment? Well, the only way that people can really even give that conjecture is because they could say, look, I never had tremors and seizures and bled out my ears and bled when I pee before February 3rd, 2023. Do you have doctor's notes? Have you been on medications? These people literally have nodules on their lungs. They're getting tumors. They're in and out of the hospital. Women and young girls are having horrible problems with their menstruation. And they're being told that they probably won't be able to have children. They have chemical burns on them from taking showers in that water. You cannot fathom what these people are going through. And if they do move, they cannot take anything with them, because it's not a matter of washing things. These toxins cannot be put in a wash machine or even scrubbed down. Through testing, they have realized that even if you, let's say, take even wooden furniture out of your house and scrub it down 10 times, all the chemicals, just scrub it down, it still has that residue on it. All their clothes are ruined, furniture's ruined, everything is ruined. Even photographs, they have like the toxins an inch thick all over their photo albums. It's not something you can just replace. So their lives have been upended for 2 years and they still have nothing. The one guy from a doctor from CDC, right? His name is Dr. Wang. He says during a press conference about a year and a half ago, he said, paraphrasing, no, we don't have anything to treat them now, but we do have treatments for the cancer they will get. Look it up. He said that. So they straight up know. They know these people are going to be sick. These people are sick. They know. They just don't care. And I know Jamie brought up the $25 million park. So they take 20 Norfolk. They're so kind. They're so caring about the community. They're building a park on contaminated land, mind you, that makes people sick when they go there. They're building a park for all the children who aren't going to be allowed to go and play there for $25 million. Then $25 million quite literally could have bought out all of the houses within like, what, a 20-mile radius? They don't want to help because each thing they would do to help them is an admission. Essentially, it's taking responsibility for their culpability. And the longer it goes, the more they don't want to take responsibility. 2 years. My friend Christina, who's been on the show a bunch of times, her little 6-year-old, I've known him since he was 4. He has a child gas mask. A child gas mask. It's like this little thing that he wears. What? This is okay? All these kids have asthma. They're always sick. The complete disregard for these people is astounding. And a lot of them feel completely abandoned. It's only me and one other channel who'll still even talk about it. Actually, that's been that way for probably since a month after it happened. And they feel like they're screaming into a void because the only time people really care is on the anniversary. And even when I do the shows, I notice not that many people tune in because it's not sexy, oh, people are dying from cancer. Oh, okay. But if you really think about this, think about being at your home, hanging out, watching TV, and all of a sudden you see a train car going past your window on fire because several of these residents had this happen to them. Just sitting there and watching a flaming train car just going by them. What the fuck? Christina's 5.8 miles out. She's texted me pictures of her view on her porch. It looks like she's 1 foot away. Huge plumes of smoke, huge fires, 5.8 miles away. She has been sick constantly, as has her son Eddie and her father. Her father has bronchitis. He's an elderly man. It doesn't matter. And that one lady, she was saying she's 1.1 miles out, Mrs. Carr. And, at first they were like, okay, those within a mile we'll put in a hotel for a week or whatever. She was 1.1 miles. No, they did not make an exception. They are the most greedy, abhorrent, disgusting company. And the EPA is trash. Absolute trash. If you want to see I am a whistleblower for the EPA, Mark Durno, the head of the East Palestine EPA. I went in his office and recorded a meeting I had with him for over an hour and a half. He didn't know I was recording, which is legal in Ohio. And he said a whole lot of shit he wasn't supposed to say. So that's on my YouTube if you guys want to check that out. He has been put on desk duty. And shout out to the Government Accountability Project who represents me and the other whistleblowers from East Palestine. It's so crazy, you guys, and I'm telling you, things have only gotten worse. Think about still having to drink out of bottled water and having to cook out of bottled water 2 years later. I mean, having been to this town 4 different times and having gotten sick each time, and one of the times, the last time I was there, I was violently ill. I mean, violently ill. No, it was the second last time I was there. Last time I was there, I was so upset by the way that the East Palestine felt after Biden came and did absolutely nothing. Because, like I was saying, it's not about politics. They don't care what party you are. They just want help. They don't care. They literally don't care. They all hate Biden. So do I. Most of us do. But they would have given him huge props if he would have helped. He didn't. He made it worse. So because of just how people felt so awful and so much despair, I decided to do a town hall. I think it was about 3.5 weeks after Biden came. I said, look, I'm going to do a town hall. You guys can talk then, since he didn't give a fuck enough to talk to any of you. So I went, Jill Stein, asked if she could come and speak as well. So I did a town hall in East Palestine. Jill came and spoke, and interacted with the residents, and they had no idea who she was because she's Green Party, and they all were just in awe that someone running for president actually went to meet with them, and she sat with them. We were there a couple hours, and she spoke, but she also met with them. She listened to them. She sat down with them. She exchanged numbers with them. And it was very refreshing for them. Also, Scott Smith, independent scientist, who has been just like, I'm not religious, but I don't know how else to say it, but a godsend for these people. He also spoke at the town hall I did. And shout out to Scott if you're watching. It's awful. I wish more people cared about the people of East Palestine, because they are turning into Times Beach, Love Canal, and the other travesties environmentally, where people are still dying of cancer decades later and still suffering. The people of East Palestine have asked for 2 things: relocate us and give us health care. That is the bare minimum. I cannot think of anything less they could possibly ask for. That is, I mean, it's not like these people are like, oh, we need you to, furnish our houses and give us new cars. And they're literally saying, relocate us and give us health care. A multi-billion-dollar corporation. So let's not forget, what this is about is everything we're supposed to be fighting against: capitalism, corporatism, environmental terrorism, We need single payer, Medicare for all. These are all connected. All of these things we fight for and we say we support culminate into East Palestine. We need to remember that. There are actually numerous train derailments every single day. You just don't hear about them because they're not to this level, but they happen every day. And I hate to say it could happen to you because that's not why you should care, but it could and it will. This will keep happening. There is no question. And they keep bringing all these toxins. This train was literally on fire. Surveillance caught it from a business 45 minutes away before it hit East Palestine. It was on fire already. But they cut the number of people on the train. So the train was over a mile long and it had excuse me excuse me, and it had 2 people on it, one on this end, one on this end. Nobody knows what's going on in between that. So you have literally have a train car that's sparking and catches on fire as it's going for 45 minutes, and nobody knew. That is greed. They took, and when Pittsburgh was protesting the rail workers, everybody dismissed them. Biden's like, whatever, shut up, it doesn't matter. And one of the things they were trying to tell people, shout out to Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, one of the things they were trying to tell people is that they have cut their inspection time down to 45 seconds. Now, what that means is the people who work, like the engineers who work on the trains to make sure they are safe before they physically start moving, they have 45 seconds to check each of the wheels to make sure everything's tightened, everything like that. 45 seconds. Less than 1 minute to go through and go around. Okay, this is good, this is tight, this didn't fall off. And we didn't listen. Well, some of us did, but the administration did not listen. This could have been prevented. Biden could have stopped this. He knew why they were protesting. He did not care. It's so infuriating, especially knowing these people personally and just knowing the pain they're going through. So as I said, Vance is coming and we will be live showing the press conference with him, and there's going to be a lot of people out there with signs, hopefully rallying, hopefully not protesting, but depending how it goes, perhaps protesting. And I'm just so proud of the residents for still having so much fight. They're honestly some of the most amazing people I've ever met. And so I will be coming back about 12:45 with Matt on the ground. So check for that link. I'll post it on Twitter and it'll pop up here. Smash like and subscribe and come back at 12:45. Thanks so much, guys. Much love.